Hello everyone, this is Jeff, the Hawaiian Volcanic. Hello gang, welcome back to the channel. Today we got a fun project. So just kind of, surfing the web, talking to some friends on some of the forums, and I've always, thought that, adding a louder horn, a louder air horn on my truck would be pretty neat. Especially, in the area that I live, there's a lot of crazy drivers out there that like to cut you off. Now here in Arizona, I easily put in about 80 miles round trip a day when I'm at work, and there's always some ding dong out there that think that they could just cut in and squeeze in and force their way in. Now I have a couple of buddies that have these air horns, and definitely gets the other drivers out there to their attention. Now I don't know what the laws are against having really loud horns, but there's a lot of folks out here that have them. So today I'll be installing a train horn kit, a Vi-Air train horn kit, which I purchased locally here in Arizona. I was kind of looking around and shopping around for the best prices and reviews, and listening into some sound bites of what they sound. And the one that I actually really liked came off of a site called Assured Automotive. They're located out in Mesa, and what's really nice is that I can just drive down and go pick it up. So I'm going to break it down for you and tell you what the components are, and go through basic installation and some of the modifications that I'm going to need to do. Now, if you've been following the channel, you guys know that I have my Silverado is lifted a total of 15 inches. It's a 12-inch suspension lift. It's a Cognito lift, and I have a 3-inch performance accessories body lift, giving it a total of 15. So with the body lift, that's kind of taking away some of the space that I need to hide these horns. So I'm going to have to get a little bit creative on how I'm going to install this kit. So with that said, let's take a look and see what's in the box. Okay, so this kit is called the Behemoth Inline Kit, and what comes in the box is a Vi-Air 280C compressor. This is a pretty heavy duty compressor here, for this kit. And if anybody knows anything about air compressors, Vi-Air is one of the premier companies out there that does air compressors right. I mean, you'll find them just about on any air kit out there, whether it be airbags. I've even seen them on Harley Davidson's on the air ride kits. Vi-Air is what is considered to be one of the best and most reliable air compressors. It comes with that 280C compressor. Also comes with all the wiring and the tubing that you need. This is your relay. Again, we'll go a little bit more in depth on the relay and how it's kind of set up for those of you that are doing this for the first time, and make sure that you're wiring this properly. There is a right way and a wrong way of doing it, and it's always good to make sure that you've got this set up properly, and make sure, for me, I'm one of those sticklers where I need to have the wires color coded to make sure that you've got the correct connection so you don't blow up your compressor. Here's your basic wiring diagram. We'll get more in depth with that as we go through the installation. Here's your plumbing, some air tubing there. I opted to go with the momentary switch here, a rocker switch. And these are one of your lighted ones that I'm gonna mount in the cab there. And we'll get more in depth with that as we go along. And all the necessary fittings that you need to connect to your tank. Here's your pressure switch. This guy turns on at 110 PSI and shuts off at 145. That gets connected to the tank. Key fittings, relief valve, you have your drain valve. So you've got, you know, everything that you need when purchasing this kit. So I have the compressor right there. All the plumbing, pressure switch, relay. Now we get into the tank. Now, I decided to get the small 1 gallon tank, and the reason being is because I'm not out there, you know, honking and making all kinds of ruckus. I mean, this is just to let people know, hey, you bastard, you almost hit me, or get out the way, kind of warning. So, little 1 gallon tank. The goal for me was to get to fit inside the engine compartment. So I didn't need a 3, 4, 5 gallon tank. So what comes in this box here are all the rubber mounts. Keep the noise down for mounting. Get a couple of these Viair stickers. Okay. Little instruction paperwork there. And here is that tank. Now it's a small tank. It's just a 1 gallon tank. That's all that I need. Again, this is not, you know, I'm not setting this up, you know, to go around and scare people, which you see on these other YouTube videos where they're driving around and honking at, you know, people on the sidewalk. Just a little tank, just like that. Okay, so you've got your openings right here where you can you can connect the compressor tube, pressure switch, drain valve, and your T-fitting up here. So, I mean, this is going to be perfect just to sit on the extra battery tray that I have in the engine compartment. And hopefully, you know, I'm able to get both the compressor and the tank side by side mounted. That's the goal, to be able to, you know, so we'll see how that comes together as we go through the video. And finally, we've got the horns. Now the behemoth horns, these are inline. They've got 3 trumpets. And you know, these are pretty decent sized, considering they're made out of solid metal. Check out these babies. Mounting hardware here. They are already plumbed and ready to go. Here is your solenoid right there, and you know, this is a low, like a kind of a mid to low tone, which what I was going for. And once I get this installed, we'll give you a sound bite. You know, there were a few of them that were kind of mid-rangey, you know, and in all honesty, the more mid-range sounding air horns, train horns, carry much farther because of the frequency. I mean, it carries much farther than these low frequencies. But again, you know, it's to be heard. You know, if someone's in front of me, it's to get their attention, not a quarter mile down the road. So anyway, my first dilemma is going to be how to fit these guys underneath the front of my truck. I do have a 3-inch body lift, and that kind of lifted up, you know, that kind of took away a little bit of the space to hide these horns. So I have to get kind of creative in trying to get these horns to fit. So with that said, let's start mechanicking. Okay, so got the horns disassembled from the bracket there. Ideally, you want to have these horns installed as is as they come out of the box. But you know, I opted to not do that. Instead of placing the horns out in the back where the spare tire well is, you know, what I really want to do is mount these horns in the front. So I do have a 3-inch body lift, and I've got all these really cool brackets up here to raise the bumper. And to my advantage, I can use that to my advantage in mounting these in the front. So what I've begun to do is drill holes to fasten the horns. So I've got, you know, one horn that's gonna be mounted here, another one here, and the other one on this end here. So ideally you'd like to have all 3 trumpets facing the same direction, but you know, we're gonna do it the Brocanic way, and you know, just get them mounted in there. And being that they're kind of underneath the bumper there, I guess I'm still gonna get, you know, some pretty good resonance, and these horns will sound just as good. With that said, let's keep Brocanicking. So this is what it looks like installed. So I was able to get the horns mounted into the body lift extensions here. This is the longer of the 3 horns, and here's the second one here. As you can see, how I have it mounted up there. I had to grind down just a little bit to get that fitting to screw in there. A little modification there. And then finally the 3rd horn, which is the smallest of the 3, is mounted like so. Oops. So what this block is here is actually a body lift block that goes in between the rear bed and the frame. So I use it to raise up the horn to be able to have clearance for these other horns to fit. So I apologize for all the wonkiness here, but that's what it kind of looks like after it's all said and done. All right, so the next thing that I need to be working on is changing out this fitting right here. The kit does come with a compression fitting that needs to be replaced. Now this is a push to fit connector, and this barb here actually comes already installed, but you're going to need to remove that and replace it with this push to fit compression fitting here. We'll do that shortly. Then after that, this is your air fitting, your T that goes in there, and then where the air is distributed through between 3 horns. So that's going to be pretty quick and easy. Also, I'm working on installing these fittings as well. The safety valve, the drain valve there, the drain, and also another fitting here for the air hose that runs from the tank into the solenoid. And then once we get that situated, there's also a filter that needs to be installed on the back of the compressor here. It's an air filter. So up the ladder, and this is the the extra battery tray right here. Now, being that my Silverado has a 3-inch body lift, that actually, creates a little bit of more depth by about 3 inches. So, now I think in hindsight is 2020, I could have gotten the already mounted compressor onto the tank and just worry about just bolting it down to the tray. But I do like the idea of, something goes wrong with the compressor, I can just pull the compressor out and, exchange it, get a new one, replace it, and, and also the tank as well. If I'm going to upgrade to a larger tank, which, I probably won't. But anyway, this is what I have to work with. I'm probably going to need to take out this tray so I can mock up the holes, see where, how to drill it in and try to get that placed. After that, it's all about the wiring and the switching. So, all right, onward. Okay, so what I've done here is fasten the compressor. See that right there? In the battery tray. I kind of mocked it up. And the tank is going to be at an angle, allowing me to connect the compressor hose. And with the way it's oriented, I'll be able to access the drain valve that's on the bottom, and also have access to any of the fittings in the event that I need to replace or change or service. So now I have the 1 gallon tank on these blocks again. Now, long story short, I ordered a performance lift 3-inch body lift, and the first time I received them, half the items were missing because the box is totally destroyed. I got it from Summit Racing and said, you know what, we'll just send you another one. You can keep the old one. So I decided to keep the parts that I thought I might use down the road, and these were these metal blocks. And what I've done is with a bunch of the bolts that I have lying around, I've raised the height by about 3 inches. Got some massive washers here, and these are nylon or nylock nuts here to raise it up so that I have access to the drain valve here. If I mounted it straight on the battery plate there, it'd be difficult for me to kind of get underneath there to loosen the drain valve to let the water out, which you're supposed to, periodically. So what I'm needing to do now is I marked with some white paint there, some holes that I need to drill. And when I do that, I'm probably going to use these nuts and bolts here that came with the kit to fasten the tank onto the battery plate. So there we go. Classic mechanicking. Onward. Okay, so we've got all the wires kind of put away nice and neat. Use some wire loom there. Use an auger to kind of drill a hole right there, and then put rubber bush in there to keep the wires from getting cut, but then kind of run it up through here. Really nice and clean. This is the positive lead that goes down to the solenoid right there. You can probably see it. If you zoom in, there it is. And that's grounded to the chassis. And then on this side here, still kind of in the process of trying to work out the switch. So what I've got here is, this is where I mounted the horn right here, the momentary switch. Instead of having it down here, I felt more comfortable putting it here so I don't bump into it with my knees. I always hit my damn little trailer, my brake assist thing here all the time. So I figured right here will be perfect. When you shut the door, it's flushed up perfect up against there. Can't even tell that you have a horn switch there. Now, this is the compressor switch, which essentially is a switch that is put between the battery and to the relay. So I'm kind of wired it through. Just need to figure out where I'm going to put it. I had a previous hole that was here for another switch, a little smaller switch, but you know, I'm thinking about putting this maybe hidden underneath here somewhere. So, okay, gang. Well, let's talk about relays. So when most kits will come with a relay, and the purpose of a relay, again, is to be able to power on specific items that you know, when power is supplied at specific times for a specific function. Does that make sense? So it is kind of confusing, but most kits will come with a diagram, a wiring diagram of how you should wire the relay. Now, when I got my kit through Assured Automotive, my kit came with a harness just like this, and a set of instructions. Now, the set of instructions, you know, some of them will come in colored. Now, this one here actually had some illustrations, and it showed, you know, positive wire being red and blue, you know, going to a specific part of the accessory and to the relay. But my advice to you is to be sure to check that the wiring is correct. Don't rely on the color code here, because when I looked at this harness that came with the kit, the diagram shows that the blue wire is to go to the pressure switch, when actually the blue wire was supposed to, the way it was set up and attached to the relay was supposed to go to ground. Now, if that's confusing, all I'm saying is when you get a harness like this, be sure to check your relay. Now, when you turn the relay over, the specific numbers are going to be stamped right alongside each prong, and that's what you would go by as far as your connections. All right, so these are the set of instructions that came with my kit, and this is the supplied harness that was included. So after you know, first glance, I was like, awesome, look at that. It's just it's set up for me already. You know, red goes to red, blue goes to blue, you know, black is ground, and all I gotta do is just plug it in, and you know, I'm styling. But after careful inspection, I discovered that the color of the wires on the harness didn't coincide with the colors here on the instructions. So what I did was, you know, I decided not to use that harness. And I went ahead and made sure that I had the correct orientation by turning the relay over and noting the positions here. So that's my suggestion. Don't just rely on the harness. Just go ahead and just do your, you know, just verify, you know, where your 30, your 85, 86, and then your 87 is at, and just get connectors. You know, get your red wire and your blue wire and then your black wire there to orient it properly. So, pretty straightforward instructions. 30 is always to your power source, which is your battery. So I ran a positive wire directly from the battery to the relay, and you are to put an inline fuse. It is highly recommended that you do that. Inline fuse needs to be approximately 6 inches away from the terminal, and the reason being is because you want the fuse to blow before it gets to your accessory. Most fires are started from overheating wires. The shielding or the rubber or plastic coating melts, and then it grounds out, and you know the rest. So it's imperative that you put a fuse, in between the connection, 6 inches from the terminal, connects to number 30. Now 87 is also a positive lead that goes directly to your compressor. 85 connects to your pressure switch. Now your pressure switch, okay, has 2 terminals here, and they are both positive. So what that means is 85 to a top terminal or bottom terminal to your ignition source. It doesn't matter which way you phase it, top or bottom, bottom, top. There is no ground in this connection here. It's a positive current. And the negative is actually supplied from number 86, which is your ground. So your ignition source, you could tap into your fuse box, with a fuse tap to find the appropriate, connection or fuse to get that ignition source. In my case, what I did was I went from the pressure switch directly to my lighter in the inside of my cab, and that supplied power, okay, through to 85. And the ground again is supplied by 86. Now, this is a totally different connection here. There's nothing to do, with this whole set of instructions here. This is totally separate. The only connection made to the horn and to the compressor or to the tank is just the air hose. So again, this is a separate connection. Now, I decided not to connect the positive lead to the steering wheel horn switch. Too much of a hassle for me to have to go through and go dig underneath there and find those wires. What I did was I went from the solenoid directly to the battery. And what I did then, okay, was add the horn switch between the solenoid and the battery. Also note that I also added an inline fuse, okay, to that connection as well. So any connection that's coming out of the battery, you should put an inline fuse. So in this case, I used on both of the inline fuse holders, I used 30 amps. So what happens then is the ground gets connected to the brackets, my body lift brackets underneath my front bumper there. I'm closing that loop. So when I go and hit the horn switch, it makes that connection. It opens up the valve, letting air through the diaphragm, through the horn, giving you, your train horn sound. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, just go ahead and leave a comment, in the comment section there, and I'll get back to you, hopefully with the correct answer. All right, so just a couple of notes. So the switch that I have on the inside between the battery and the relay right here is completely optional. It is not necessary, but for safety reasons, I like to have that extra insurance that I can flick the switch off, so something doesn't, in case something is defective and the compressor decides to turn on its own, I can turn that off, And also the pressure switch too. Now that's connected to my lighter as my accessory connection to power the pressure switch here. Now be mindful that sometimes some lighters are hot, which means they're always on. If you put a phone charger into it and you walk out of the car, it continues to charge the car, will continue to draw power. And some of the lighters turn off when you turn off the car. So again, a lot of those switches and stuff, are optional. And what I'm gonna do as well, it's because I just discovered that on my Silverado that the lighter receptacle is actually always hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little toggle switch on there as well, just to flick, just to turn it off. Now, if you got power constantly going to the pressure switch, you know, that might cause a drain on the battery. You know, although, you know, a low drain, but over time, you know, that might kill your battery. So, you know, I'm deciding that I'm just going to put out the little toggle switch, you know, to power that off. Power it up when I need to have the horn on, and when I'm not, I can turn off the power to the compressor and also to the pressure switch. And again, it is totally optional. It's and more than likely unnecessary. A lot of folks out there that have these train horns will say the same thing, that's unnecessary, you don't really need it. And in some cases, you know, on other YouTube videos out there, you know, they'll have those switches on there as a fail-safe. You know, and I'm one of those guys that, you know what, fail-safe is good. So again, those switches are optional. Damn, that's loud. All right, gang. Well, this wraps up another install. Hope you guys got a little bit of something out of the content. There are numerous videos out there detailing how to install the train horn, you know, and the most simplest way possible, you know, which is out of the box, underneath the back, bolt everything is, don't need to take apart anything, wire it the way, you know, it says, and you're done. But in the real world, you know, that never really works out. So, I mean, especially if you're doing it, you know, the way that I did it, which was disassemble the horns from the bracket and then trying to get it to fit underneath the front there. So, if you have any questions on anything that I did, any processes or wiring or how I did this or how I did that, just drop me a line in the comment section there, and I'll try my best to answer, you know, those questions. I'll leave a link below for the kit that I purchased over at Assured Automotive Company. Those guys are great. You know, Jeff, I drove in, you know, when we're in the middle of a monsoon. It was raining cats and dogs, and I was just in the vicinity and walked in and decided I'm going to get me a train horn. And really nice guy, and you know what, they've got, their customer service is unsurpassed. You know, and they stand by their products. So, I am not sponsored by those guys. I'm not getting anything free from them. So I'm just letting you know. I'm just saying, when it's a good product and good customer service, that's where I'm gonna go. And that's where I'm gonna send all my friends. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. If you like the content, please like and subscribe. And you know, I've got a few more projects coming up. I got a big one in the next month or so. I got a buddy who has a 2020 Toyota Tundra. And you know, he wants a 6-inch lift added to it. So, you know, we're gonna be doing it here in this garage. So stay tuned for that. And, you know, I might have a giveaway here, you know, if, and I'll announce that, in the next video upcoming. So, until then, we'll see you guys next time. Aloha.